Hey guys, what's up?
Hello.
Shane and Jocelyn here. We are over at the Flipped Lifestyle World headquarters. So we've got our classy banner behind us today.
We sort of feel like we're on the evening news. I feel like I need to be saying tonight's top story is.
In weather news today, we'll have a good time with the snow. All right, guys. So we are getting this member call going. I already see about 5 or 6 questions in the chat room.
Thank you for joining us early and sorry for the late notice.
Late notice. We had a little bit of a scheduling conflict. Everything's kind of chaotic right now, just with our schedule, the kids' schedules, family stuff going on, and we want to make sure we lost track of a couple things on our calendar. So we realized that we had like triple scheduled the 3 o'clock time slot, and there was a lot of traveling involved. So go ahead and ask your question now. If we could get a little confirmation too as well that you can hear us, we want to make sure that we are coming through loud and clear. Triple scheduled for 3 o'clock. It looks like I'm good on my end. I can hear us. Once I get one person or two, please let us know that you can hear us and see us. Once we get that, we will get going. Thank you, David, for letting us know that you can hear us on today's online business Q&A call. Got a lot going on, a lot of great stuff in the Flip Your Life community, a lot of success stories this week. We've had a couple people quit their jobs this week. We've had a couple people with some serious financial success stories this week. And we would love to hear what's going on in your business on today's member call as well. So along with your questions, post your biggest win. What was your biggest win this week?
We have a couple already.
In your online business, whether it was getting started, launching a product, getting your opt-in done, making some money. And we will read those as we go in between questions. But we want as many questions and success stories right now in the chat, and we will be able to talk about every single one of those. Some things going on with me and Jocelyn last week. Of course, we started homeschool, and we've been doing that. So we've been here at the office today, and we've been doing homeschool all day with the kids while we work on other projects and other stuff like that. And the kids are actually upstairs right now. They've got different curriculums that we're using. It's been a neat experiment to see kind of what works and what doesn't work with the kids, and like what can they do by themselves, what do we have to be involved in. And this morning we just did bookwork. They got a big giant, Chelsea's got this like 8,000 page tome. It's like an entire year's curriculum all in one. And we did that this morning, and they're actually upstairs right now doing computer work. They've got some computer videos they watch, answer some questions.
Cannot promise they won't make an appearance on this.
I just had to break them up from a fight because I heard something right before we went live rolling around in the ceiling above us. And I went in, and Anna Jo was on top of Isaac with her elbow in his face, trying to take a Post-it note out of his hand. It was the Wi-Fi password. Isaac would not share with her. So we've just been refereeing pretty much World War III with our children upstairs right before this member call.
And can't promise that it won't happen again. Who knows?
They may just run in here and knock this whole thing over. So other than that, I've had a lot of requests about my mom. I appreciate that. All the messages and kind words you guys have said last week. My mom did have a little accident. She fell and broke her back and had to have surgery, and it was really, really scary. And I'm super excited to say that she's probably going to come home today. Just, 10 days since the actual accident.
Something like that, yeah.
So after we get off here and after we get done with sports practices and all of our activities tonight, we're going to go welcome her home. So that's really good. And things starting to get a little bit more back to normal around here. Okay. All right, guys. So we're going to get started. We got a ton of questions. Keep them coming. Ton of success stories and wins we're going to go through. And let's jump into our first question right now.
All right. The first question is from Kathy. Kathy says, being that it's the end of the year, everyone is talking about everything goal planning. My goal for the upcoming year is to hit 100 members. Aside from looking at my avatar, math teacher's calendar, what is the most strategic way to plan your year? Last year, I made quarterly goals, but I found it hard to plan on a daily, weekly basis without feeling like I was flying by the seat of my pants. I would like to be as strategic as possible and would love to know how you plan your calendar.
Well, it's going to be a little hard on us because we actually only plan about a quarter ahead. Like I would say we know more next year about what we're doing than we ever have, because we've got the live event, which is going to be September 19th through the 21st next year. So you might as well go ahead and pencil your calendar in for Flip Your Life Live. That is going to be, is this the first time we've ever said this anywhere? I think it is.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it is. It's going to be September 19th to the 21st. And that's going to be an anchor on the calendar. Okay. It's going to be in Lexington, Kentucky this year. And we're going to talk more about that and why it's going to be there and all that good stuff very soon. Tickets are probably going to go on sale before the end of the year. We're going to do like a deposit where you just hold your ticket and then you can kind of pay it over time. So that's an anchor on the calendar. We've got a speaking event in July that we're going to be at. That's an anchor on the calendar. We've got some trips like in March and stuff. So we pretty much have our travel schedule already done. So the tip there is just create some anchors. Don't try to plan out your whole year. It's going to change no matter what you do. But if you can put some anchors down, that'll give you some kind of checkpoints to run between. And then we also kind of theme our year more than plan it out. Next year, our theme is going to be being prolific and promotion. This year, we played with our offer a lot. We played with membership pricing, trials. We played with new offers like our All Access Voxer program. We've got a brand new coaching program we're going to debut this month. And we've also got some different things that are going to happen to the Flip Your Life community to make our courses and stuff more accessible to people. So this year, we really played with our offer. We didn't promote a lot. The only thing we really promoted was the live event. So I guess our theme this year was offer and toying with what we're going to sell. Next year, it's going to be all about promotion. That's what we're really focused on. So theme your year, figure out what's the most important thing for you. If your next thing is 100 members and you know your offer is pretty solid, which yours is, Kathy. So you're probably also going into a promotion season. So next year is like, all right, how am I going to promote this thing? And then maybe break it into the quarters, what you're going to try. Maybe your first quarter is, all right, I'm really going to focus on ads. Maybe the next quarter, you're going to try to really, really focus on that avatar's calendar and kind of theme it out, but don't lock yourself in to be like, on May 31st of 2019, I will do this, this, and this. Because if you do that, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And every time you don't hit one of those checkpoints, you're going to get frustrated, with yourself. And we just don't like to travel, very far in the future. And flying by the seat of your pants is not something you should try to avoid. It's more something you should get used to. You can stay ahead of things with batching and some scheduling and some things like that, but pretty much entrepreneurship is flying by the seat of your pants because there's something always evolving and changing and going on. So that's what we're doing. I'm not saying it's the best way. I'm not saying it's the only way. But you're a little more locked into the calendar than I am. So
I would say just know your goals and objectives. Like, what do you really want to do? If you want to grow the membership, what steps are you going to take to do that? And sometimes that's going to change. Like, you may set out at the beginning of the year doing one thing and then you decide that it's not working. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, is because, we don't have a large ship to steer. It's like big businesses and corporations. They have to have permission from 18,000 people and departments, and they have to run this study and that study. If we know something's not working in our little businesses, we can just turn around about face and do something different. So, kind of embrace that. It's hard to do. I know that. I like to have everything planned and know what I'm going to do, but it's not always possible, especially doing what we do. So just have some goals and objectives ready. You might want to check out the 12-week year. It's a book. We actually did it in the book club, I think, last year.
So there's a thread about it, right?
I'm pretty sure like if you go to the book club forum, there is a thread about that. That might help you. He kind of breaks it out into like quarters and he calls them years. So
another thing that you can do, and we've done a little bit of this in the past, but not as good as we should have, is try to slide your calendar forward. Like, let's say you know what you're going to do next month. Let's just assume you know what you're going to do next month or in January, right? It's December right now. Why not go ahead and just automate everything for January? And then in January, work on February, right? You know what you're going to try. You know what you're going to do. So why not just forget December right now, forget the slow period in your business cycle, and take this month and do January. Maybe it's plan an email. Maybe it's plan 12 emails for next month so you know that they're all rolling out. Just write those. Schedule them. Do it. Maybe it's get your podcast recorded. Schedule them. Do it. Maybe it's do some YouTube videos and schedule them so they're done. That way, in January, you feel like you're working on February. You don't feel like you're overwhelmed and flying by the seat of your pants. You're ahead of time, right? Like, our podcast is actually recorded right now through March. We have enough content to have a podcast twice a week until March. And that's like 3.5 months
And we did that to sort of just like free up some mental space through the end of December so that we could think about what we want to do next.
And I just wrote down, Jocelyn always says, laughs at me because she says I can do, what do you use? I can do a year's worth
a week's worth of, or sorry, a month's worth of work in a week and a week's worth of work in a month.
Right. So like I'm getting ready to I just wrote down a plan for the next 5 days. That's basically going to be all of our offer campaigns for like next year that we know of right now. So, I'm just going to get it done and get it over with while it's December, and then we'll go into 2019 with it all automated and ready to roll.
Yeah, and just don't be too married to stuff. Like last year, I had a really kind of tough 2017 mentally. Like I just was not in a very good place. And at the end of the year, I'm like, please promise me we won't do anything new. He's like, okay, we won't do anything new in 2018. Well, yeah, but that didn't work out so well.
Yeah, you said, promise me we won't do anything new. And then about a week later, she goes, so what about this live event for 100 people? You want to do that? I'm like, you said nothing new. And
okay, so it's not just you.
Right.
All right. Let's sort of talk about some of the wins that people have been posting. I started a list here. The first one is Jen. She says, the last call I attended, I asked about offering a free month of membership to those who attended a live training I offered in New York City on December 1st. We had about 48 people attend and 14 joined via the free month. This brings me up to 56 members. My goal is for 7 of those to continue on with month 2.
That is, see, now that's what that is in a nutshell what this community is all about. You show up, you ask a question, you get an answer, and you go take action and see what happens, and then the result. Now you take the next step and the next step. So good job, Jen. That's absolutely amazing, guys. If you hear something today on this member call, you should take action on it in the next week and see what happens, so that by the next member call in 2 weeks, you can report back your big win like Jen did. That's awesome.
All right. This question is from Kevin.
I'm not used to being able to see the questions.
I know. Keep off my screen.
Sorry. I'm looking over Jocelyn's
we usually
right
sit like far apart, but now we're like super close. Okay. Kevin says, I have settled on my idea of teaching Excel through developing online courses and a membership. I'm an IT professional with 20 years of experience. However, I need to brush up on my Excel skills. My question is, should I focus solely on preparing, reading, and honing my Excel skills, or should I also run pilot Excel basics classes, blog, and collect an email list of interested people along my learning journey to build my list? It seems this will divide my focus, and I want to be very heads down now that I have my direction.
I would start with all the skills that you don't have to brush up on. Like I'm guessing that the basic, because here, this is the curse of knowledge. And what the curse of knowledge means, our kids are running rampantly up here. Yeah. I'm probably going to have to go up there and do something about this here in a second. What the curse of knowledge is it's you're so close to something, you think you've got to brush up on your skills. But you have to remember, if you know 5 skills right now, that's 5 more than the person who's never used Excel. So like if you just know how to highlight a column and get a sum at the bottom, and someone else doesn't know that, you could go ahead and teach that to them. So you need to write down the 5 to 10 things you do know right now that you would never have to brush up on. That's what you teach the beginner with Excel. Start there. You don't have to know any advanced stuff. They don't want to know the advanced stuff. They probably just want to be able to put their budget in and it calculate percentages for them. So like focus on the simple stuff, the simplest of the simple. When you think you need to add something, you're going by the fact that you've been in Excel, you've learned the program, you've used it in different ways over different times. Like for example, I used to use Excel when I was a football coach because I would break down film in a spreadsheet. And then there's a function in Excel called a pivot table. Now, I would be willing to bet my bottom dollar, that's the last dollar in your wallet, the bottom of the wallet, for those of you who are not from the South. Okay, I'd bet my bottom dollar that 99% of people that use Excel don't even know pivot tables exist. Okay, but it was the only way I could get full counts on knowing, like on 3rd and 10, they're going to run a run play or whatever. All right, so I knew how to use that. But see, I would never try to teach that to somebody how to use Excel. I'm going to teach people how to do percentages and sum the columns. That's the whole first week, month maybe, until they get to know that. And then I'll teach them some other things, right? So focus on the things that are the simplest of the simple. It's just like a book. When you write a good book, if you want to write a good book, you write it at like a 8th grade level in words, because you want everybody that reads it to be able to understand it at the simplest level possible. When you're teaching graduate students, you write at a higher level. You're not teaching graduate students. You want to teach people Excel. So focus on what you got. Build your product with what you got. Don't be brushing up on anything. Add that later. Let everything grow and evolve so you can go ahead and start making money now. Like, why wait? This feels like an excuse, like you're trying to put it off because,
I
if I
don't
just
know
learn a
enough.
little more, I don't know enough. I'm
But you do.
imposter syndrome. If I don't know how to actually program Excel, I can't teach it, right? So this is not an
And
excuse.
a
Don't use
lot
it
of
as one.
what you will probably be doing is pointing people to resources. It's like, okay, so I'll tell you a nerdy thing about me that most of you might not know. So not too long ago, this has been about, I don't know, 10 years, no, probably more than that, probably like 15 years ago. I actually taught a community Excel course. And I thought the same thing as you. I thought, okay, well, these people, they are going to want to know much more complicated things than what I know. Well, turns out they didn't. They wanted to know very basic things. And I had one guy ask to how to do an amortization schedule for like real estate. And it's so funny because I went through and like I learned how to do this myself. I went through and taught them how to do it, and it was like completely overwhelming. So what we ended up doing was finding one and like just changing it around to fit our needs so we didn't have to do all those formulas and everything. So what I'm trying to say is that probably people just want a place to learn things. They want a place to for other people to be able to point them to resources. So don't feel like you have to know every single little thing. Like just get started.
You could just give people a place to ask questions and they'd probably be happy. And then you'll actually learn what people want instead of brushing up on all the skills you don't even know if they want yet. So what if you brush up on 10 things and nobody wants those 10 things? Well, I mean, it's good for you, I guess, but it's not good for
And
them.
there's nothing wrong with like, finding some further education. If somebody in your community has a question, you don't know how to answer it, say, okay, well, I'm happy to help you find that. I did some studying and this is what I learned. Like, that's totally fine. Like, people don't want to go to people who have all the answers. We definitely don't have all the answers. I mean, you guys are here listening to us talk about business. And I mean, we know a lot of things based on our experience, but there's some things that you guys ask us that we don't really
and
know.
that's really half our job is when you ask something we don't know is to find the answer, learn it, and be ready to answer that question for you. So you don't have to do it on your own. So,
Yeah, and you had mentioned too something about like getting other experts. I think that's a great idea. Like when you're starting out, get other people. Like people just want a place where they can go and learn and ask questions and feel like they're a part of something.
all right, let's check out another win real quick on the old spreadsheet that Jocelyn's using. She's got a spreadsheet going right now to keep all these things going on.
Keep off my spreadsheet.
Sorry.
All right. This one is from Deanne. Deanne says, my win from last week was to transition from my full time job out of the house to part time, flex time work from home rather than lose my job altogether. Now I have a base income that I can live on while having more time to build my own. Be careful what you pray for, she says.
Yeah. I love when people do that. Like they go part time or they quit their job. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like when you jump off the diving board, but you're halfway to the water. You're like, here it comes. Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be splash? What's going to happen here? And, but man, that is awesome. That's like, if flipped lifestyle is 360-degree flip, you just did the 180 flip, right? So you're like halfway home now, and now you got time to grow and build that business. And this has been a theme lately of people going part-time. Like,
yeah, and I want to like encourage people to think about other options that you can do. I think a lot of times if we ask people, could you think about leaving your job? And people are like, no, absolutely not. But like what you don't think of is the baby step along the way. Well, could you go part-time and make money online part-time?
yeah.
And sometimes you're going to, a lot of people will look at you and say, oh, definitely not. But if you really thought about it and you made some choices and some sacrifices in the short term, like it could really pay off in the end.
And we've been, that's actually something we're going to do next year. A lot of is we're going to expand the Flip Your Life Blueprint beyond just online business. We're still going to focus a lot on recurring revenue because we believe in that model, not just from digital courses and things like that, but just to create stable, consistent income. But, our real mission is to help people work from home. Like that's our goal. And there's a lot of ways to do that. Digital products, e-commerce.
And we're going to be
markets,
talking about that much, much more in the upcoming year.
Be ready to look at all the options to do anything you can to say, hey, I'm taking control of my life, right, wrong, or indifferent. Cool.
All right, this question is from Guy. He says, I like podcasting a whole lot more than blogging. What are the best strategies to grow an email list through podcasting? And then he also wants to know, should my blog post be turned into podcast transcripts and not worry about SEO? So, in other words, should I podcast or blog? Is the first question.
If you like podcasting better,
Do
do
it.
it. And then should you transcribe? That's what we've done for 5 years because nobody's got time to write a blog post. That we don't. We just don't like it. And so what we do is we write a quick summary and we transcribe it. And Google will work its magic. Get your titles right. Spend time doing SEO on your titles. Make sure you're actually putting some stuff in there. But all that text is going to get traffic, and then it's your job to promote it. Google doesn't work its magic. This isn't Field of Dreams. You're not Kevin Costner. If you build it, they won't come. You got to get out and tell people your podcast exists. So you do have to have a strategy beyond SEO. SEO is not magic. It's just good practice. Do we SEO things? Yes. Do we rely on SEO? No, we do not. So you need to go out and you're going to have to run ads to your podcast. You're going to have to, post it on your private page. Email your list every single week as you build it that you've got a new podcast out. And be prolific in your content creation. iTunes, Google, all the search engines really, really love people who are consistent and prolific. Those are two words that we've been using a whole lot in the last few months because that's the difference between successful people and people that fail. Is they are consistent over time. They don't quit. They don't give up. They're steady and they're prolific. If you want to podcast once a week at first, that's fine, but maybe go to 2 a week just to get a little more traction in there. Go on other people's podcasts, promote your podcast. You're going to have to create a promotion strategy that tells a lot of people I have a podcast. And also, too, it takes time. Podcasts happen over time. Like you are not going to come out of the gate 15 episodes in and have a great, huge following. In fact, I read an article just the other day that said 90% of podcasts on iTunes stop between episode 20 and 30. People get burnt out. They don't get the traction they want early enough, and they don't stop. And they just stop. They don't view it properly as, wow, I've got 100 people that are actually paying attention to my show. I should keep going. Okay. So if you're going to do anything in online business, podcasting, YouTubing, whatever it is, you better be saying, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it for the next year. I'm going to promote this every day of my life to make sure that people are watching it. And that's how it will grow. Okay. So be consistent, be prolific. Transcribing's fine. Don't worry about it. The most important thing is that you're recording and you're releasing every week. Okay. Yeah. If you're done with your work. Just
Okay.
don't wrestle.
There's a kid interruption.
Isaac was asking if he could play his iPad now that he's done with his homework. So,
okay. The next success story is from Jennifer. Jennifer says she started videoing her course.
Ooh, that's a lot of people never get to that part, Jennifer. So that is a huge win. Now I'm going to challenge you. The next member call, I want you to post that you finished recording your course and it's all edited. Okay.
And I think that's like December. I want to say it's like the 29th or something like that. I'll look and see. But
yeah, sometime at the end of December, but
I think it's the 28th actually.
So we're throwing down the gauntlet.
So December 28th.
Jocelyn's putting it on her calendar right now. Like I'm literally watching it. She's putting it on her calendar to ask you at the next member call if you're done with your course. So
all right.
You are under the gun, my friend.
All right. This question is from our resident cowboy, David. David says, my win is that I launched my first opt-in bonus ad to cold traffic this week. My challenge is apparently my God-given talent is reading and relating to animals and not creating ads. I find myself just sitting and staring at the screen. You guys are amazing at spitting out great ideas off the top of your head. I would love your thoughts on what a good cold and warm ad would look like for my horse training membership.
I'll tell you, for you especially, and just some context, David has a program about training horses. He's a cowboy, got the cowboy hat, got the awesome mustache. It's amazing.
We met him in real life, so he's like the real thing.
He's the real deal. Like I would say that you might be not getting it. I haven't seen your ad, okay, but you got to get comfortable in your setting. Like I would almost think that your ads would be way better, like just as natural as possible, like. Even like, after maybe 4 or 5 hours out riding horses and you're dirty and you get off the thing, you just whip out your phone with a selfie stick and you just say, "Hey guys, David, I got a great community about raising, training horses. Would love to have you check it out. Click this link. Talk to you soon." Like something real simple. Like you're telling me, like imagine if you did a video call with me and I was like, "Hey man, I saw something on Facebook. What are you doing?" "Oh yeah, Shane, man, I got this new video where I help people train their horse. You want to check it out?" "Yeah, I'd love to." "All right, here's the link." Like that's how casual it needs to be. Like that's the problem is everybody tries to get too professional, right? And that's not even what people want. They don't want professional. They want real, someone who can actually help them that they can reach out and talk to. And that's really why we do this the way we do it, is to keep it natural, to keep it smooth as we can, because we don't want it to look rehearsed. We don't want it to look herky jerky. We don't want it to look uncomfortable, right? Another thing I would say too is don't watch it back. Let somebody else edit it, because you'll be too critical on yourself, and your brain, your voice has a different frequency when it comes out of a speaker. That's why nobody likes the sound of their own voice.
It sounds different than it does in your head.
Your brain knows it. Your brain hears it and goes, "That's supposed to be me, but it's not me." So I'd let somebody else edit it too. And but mainly just get in your environment, man, and be as comfortable as possible in your environment.
And I would say for your cold ads, like the thing that you have to remember about cold ads, and for those who are not sure what cold ads are, they're basically ads to people who have never heard of you before. You need to figure out what is the step that they need to do before they're ready to train their horse. So maybe it might be something like how to choose a horse to purchase. That might be a thing. How to prepare your horse to be trained, however you train them. Like those are sort of like, I guess what you would call prerequisites to your course. And typically that's a good strategy for getting people involved in your membership. You want to attract the type of people who would want to join your membership with some great free content, and then you lead them on to your paid content.
And you can, another thing too, like there's no, like I'm pretty good at like getting on the camera and going, "Hey, this is Shane Sams. We've got a webinar on Sunday and we'd love to have you there. Click the link below and opt in." Like I'm pretty good at that. But like some people don't like doing that. And like, who's to say your ad has to be an ad? What if you did a 2-minute video that was a tip? "Hey, this is David and I got a great tip for training your horse here." And you actually teach something that you would teach somebody. And then at the end you say, "I'm having a live event with a lot of great tips. Click below to learn more about it." That's your next step. So like you can teach on an ad. An ad doesn't have to be, a ShamWow commercial or something like an infomercial. It can just be, "Hey, here's a tip. You want more great tips? Follow me here on YouTube." Then you send them an email or something and they invite them to the webinar. So don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. Get in as natural an environment as possible. And just do it. And don't even worry if it's good. Don't even care. Just put it out there, and you can get better as you go.
All right. Let's move on to a win from this week. And this one is from Paul. Paul says, "I sent out an email launching multi-site prices for churches and purchase orders. No takers yet, but they don't have those excuses anymore."
There you go. It's out in the wild. Somebody's going to find it eventually and pick it up.
Love
right?
it, Paul.
Good job, Paul.
Love it. All right. Let's move on. This question is from Kevin. Kevin says, "What is your recommended way to handle state sales tax, EU VAT tax?" That's the European Union. For online courses and memberships, I know that if you have an interactive component, it affects whether or not you have to collect sales tax. What is the best way, process, vendor, etc., to handle remitting sales tax?
Yeah, well,
Kevin.
Kevin, like our way is to just charge what we charge and pay what they tell us to pay. Like we don't really like think about it. Like our price is what it is.
We include tax.
It's included inside, and then at the end of the year, we let our accountants do their job. We pay someone to do our taxes. We pay someone to do our accounting. We meet with them strategically once a quarter, and we tell them like, this is what we want to spend on our business. This is how much we actually want to, try to pay in taxes. These are our goals. And then they work out all the bookkeeping and the accounting. So at the end of the year, they just tell us if we owe any sales tax. I don't know if the European VAT, I mean, I'm sure we pay stuff, but I don't even know it. They just tell me what checks to write and I do it. So,
okay. So, but for people out there who maybe they can't hire accountants yet, keeping in mind that we are not accounting professionals. We just own a business and we do the best that we can to get everybody paid properly. But one thing to keep in mind is that each state has their own laws about taxes and what you collect for digital products. Some states are different than others. Some states, it depends on where you sell it to. Some states collect only for that particular state. It's very confusing. So it may even be worth investing in talking to a professional. Maybe you don't even hire them to like do your books or whatever, but maybe you just hire them for an hour call and say, hey, I'm a lot to Europe. I need to know what I need to pay, and they will be able to tell you. My thought is if you're not selling a large amount to those countries, probably you don't need to worry about it.
We see this hold people back, and it's ridiculous, guys. Let me tell you something. If you got let's say your state has a 6% sales tax, and you're charging $100 a month, well, just write the check for $6 on every sale. Like, don't stop because you just made 94. Like Kentucky's sales tax is 6%. Like if we sell something for $100, we give them 6, we keep 94. Like this is not like something that you should even be wrestling with, right? Like don't worry so much about, yes, if you have a business, you got to pay taxes. And in some cases, you got to pay sales taxes, but just do it. Just get it. And, get an accountant, like go get an accountant, find an accountant and let somebody do your taxes for you and let them tell you what to pay. So you don't have to worry about it. And just, the most important thing is that you have, listen, if you have a business and you get 100 people to pay you $100 a month, and that's $10,000 a month, right? And you make $120,000 next year, go write your taxes and spend the rest. That's the moral of this story. This is not something that you should even be worried about because tax time only comes once a year or once a quarter. Right.
And the IRS knows if you are trying to pay your taxes. They know if you're trying to evade them, if you're trying to be honest and pay it. Like you can even screw it up and they can come back and say, we need more money. And you just say, okay, that's cool. So disclaimer, again, we are not tax professionals. We are not accountants. Please do not take this as the gospel and that it is the correct way to run a business. But the bottom line is if you're not making at least $600 online, you don't even have to worry about paying taxes anyway. So most of you, well, I won't say most of you.
Paying more taxes is a good problem.
Many of you listening to this are not even making that much. So don't get too far down this track. And when you do start making enough money to worry about it, like I said, hire someone. Even if you can't hire them to do your books, hire them and figure out, talk to them. Someone who is a professional. What do I need to do? What do I need to worry about?
You can get a decent local person to do your taxes and stuff for maybe $100 a month. Make that a goal. My goal is to make $1,000 a month so I can pay $100 to somebody to do my books, right? Like make that a goal for yourself. And here's the deal. Like here's what I always think about with taxes. Okay. Let's say that I pay 30% of my money out in taxes. Well, that means if I make $100,000, I have to give the government 30, but I got to keep 70. So, oh man, I don't want to make $200,000 because then I have to give the government 60. No, you just made $140,000 that you get to keep. So the goal is to always make more. Always. Now, if you're charging very small amounts, like $5, then maybe 6 for 30 cents matters on the dollar. But like, really, it doesn't. It just make more money and don't worry too much.
Don't let this be a roadblock to getting started or to making money. Like figure out a way.
Also, too, on taxes, the only people that get in trouble with taxes are the people that are criminally trying to evade their tax burden. Like, go out and make an effort. Pay your share. If they say you owe, 6 cents on the dollar or 10 cents on the dollar, then just do your best to pay it. And if something gets screwed up, don't worry about it, and move forward. But like, don't let this stop you from taking action and building your business. You should not be worried about it in the beginning. Okay.
All right. Hold on one second.
We're typing in the chat, going back and forth.
All right. Let me see. Next question is from Jen. Jen says, how do you find a mastermind group of people who are in a similar stage of business as you are?
You're in the Flip Your Life community, right?
It's a great place to start.
Great place to start. So what you want to do is you want to say, I'm forming a mastermind. Okay. And then you go in and put in your post, hey, I'm Jen. I'm from X city. I'm in this space. And I'm trying to find people who are making between $0 and X dollars online a month so that we can bounce some ideas off each other and help each other grow our businesses. Okay. Now, on that second thing, I would say about masterminds. In the beginning, masterminds are overrated. Masterminds are overrated because none of you know anything. Like
you're all blind beginners, leading the blind.
It's the blind leading the blind. Like we had masterminds and we look back on it now and we're like, what in the world are we doing? Now, I have a mastermind today and Jocelyn has a mastermind today of all 7-figure earners. So these people that we're hanging out with now, this is not the blind leading the blind. Like I want to know how that squirrel found that nut, right? Like we help each other, right? With business, with life, with parenting, with marriage, with everything. But in the beginning, you don't need a mastermind. You need action. You need massive action. You need earth moving action in the beginning. You don't need to be bouncing ideas off of people who may or may not know what to do, right? And also who may confuse you. They may know what to do. Maybe they do it one way and you don't want to do it that way, but you think it's the right way and you're confused. You would rather just say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take action. I'm going to go out and blow it up. And I want to build my business that way. A mastermind will never make you $1. Taking action and being decisive, right, wrong, or indifferent will make you a living online, right? So we actually kind of discourage people until you're to the point where you're thinking about going part-time or full-time, in your own business. You don't really need a mastermind. You do need people. You need a place to go get answers, whether that's trainings or stuff like this member call or other people in the community who may be a little bit ahead of you. But really, people like that aren't going to let you in their mastermind anyway, because masterminds are reciprocal. And a lot of times you don't have anything really to offer the next person up above you who's making money already, right?
Yeah, we really recommend paid relationships at the beginning. Like when you're just starting out, you probably need to pay someone for coaching or for some type of extra help. So it may be a one-on-one thing, like where you make an investment into a one-on-one session with someone. It may be a situation like this where we talk to you in a community, like a forum based thing,
but that person's actually done something and can help you, right?
And the thing about it is, like, at this point for us, like when we talk to most beginners, we have talked to so many people in this community.
Yeah.
Like we can solve your problem in a matter of minutes most of the time. And it's just because we've been there and done that. It's not because we know all the things. It's just because we've had so many different people. We've had so many people come in and figure this out and become successful. Like we know how to shortcut you to there. If you end up with somebody who's at your exact same level, like, it's good accountability. I'm not trying to say it's not accountability, but it's not necessarily like a learning type relationship. So I would definitely find a way to invest in some type of one-on-one coaching if you haven't tried that yet.
And also there's a difference between a mastermind and what Jocelyn just said, an accountability group. Okay. A mastermind it's kind of like the Knights at the Round Table. It's like, all right, boys, girls, here's what we've done. What did you do next? What did you do next? What did you do next? And it's people who have enough mastery of their businesses that they don't think, oh gosh, well, they did it. Well, I've got to do it that way too. That's not what it is. That's interesting. I might try that. That's cool. How'd that work for you? It's more just getting these ideas and being able to process and synthesize them. Putting together a good accountability group where someone is like saying, hey, what'd you do this week? Hey, did you get that thing done? You told me you were going to get done. That's great too. But even that is it's not as good as latching onto your why and taking massive action based on the catalyst that made you want to do that, because there are still no consequences in an accountability group. You can meet your 4 best friends in the world. You still have no skin in the game with an accountability group like that. So the best thing to do is get your plan, be decisive, attack it. When you go out and make that money, then you'll start connecting with people in that similar space. Y'all can start bouncing ideas off each other. You can process it properly, and you can make it happen. Okay.
Okay. And then Melissa, on this note, wants to know when we are reopening I assume she means the all access mastermind. So just to kind of clarify, we actually have a few different ways that you guys can work more closely with us. We didn't do this for a really long time, and we decided to kind of open up some opportunities. The first way is that we have private calls. So you can actually book a 30-minute call with Shane or myself. A lot of times we get together and both of us talk on the calls, even if it just says one of us. But anyway, we do have those available, and I will put a link to those in the chat here.
There are very few of those, though. We don't do a lot of them. We just keep them open because we know some people need them. for big decisions. Basically, and those may not even be available for very long. We've got 2 other programs. The one that I think most talking about is called our S&J All Access, and what that is you basically get an app on your phone where you can talk back and forth to me and Jocelyn in real time like a walkie-talkie. So if you got a question, you send it, we answer it, you take action, we go to the next question, right? It's literally a relationship with me and Jocelyn. We check these things a couple times a day, and you can get answers in real time. We're rolling out. It's going to be S&J email access, where we know that not everybody can go full speed ahead in this. This is more for people who are really ready to take it to the next level. But some people need accountability. So at the end of this month, we're going to have an email access program where we are going to send you an email that says basically like, what are you doing? What have you accomplished this week? And, what are you about to do next? What can we help you with? And then you send us that message back. We reply, you go take action. Then next week I send you another email that says, hey, Shane and Jocelyn here again. We're checking in on you. This is your accountability. You've got skin in the game because you paid for it, right? So you're going to take advantage of it. And it's another direct line to me and Jocelyn, but it's not every day. It's once a week or once every other week, something like that. Okay. But those are the 3 main ways you can talk to us. But that Voxer program is the best way to work with us.
And do we have openings in it right now?
We do not have openings in it right now. I'm about to go through. We evaluate everybody quarterly, and we look to see who's been a good fit. Sometimes we don't let them keep going, and other people, maybe they got what they needed and they're ready to move on. That's cool. Our goal is to always make you graduate and go on your own, right? But we'll be opening some new spots of that this month.
So just be on the lookout. Yeah. We'll send that out via email.
I'm working on a new page for it right now. And then, and it will be very limited. There will never be more than probably 30 people ever in that program. So when it does open up, if you want to get in a spot, it is quarterly. It is not super cheap, but for what you get, it's pretty amazing value. And we'll let you know. So keep an eye out for that in your email inbox.
All right. Many people recommending working closely with us. Thank you for that.
Ask Jennifer there what we've been doing.
Yeah, Jennifer knows the All Access. Kareem has been a part of several of our paid masterminds. Yeah. And she actually, I'm going to jump to her success story because it's pretty amazing. And I'm skipping over a couple, but I'll come back. Kareem just realized that she replaced her teacher salary.
Oh my
gosh,
year. That's incredible. Yeah, hey, listen, that's been a long time coming too, man. Kareem has really had her head down, and she has been rocking and rolling for a year or 2 now. Done workshops. Kareem.
I know, that is like awesome. I was so excited.
Tell me things like this.
I know. I had to put it on the list quietly because like we're answering a question, but I'm like, that's so cool. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's amazing. So like, what a great year. And I love the context of that sentence is I just realized I replaced my income this year. So she's had her head down. She's been so focused. She's been building her business brick by brick for a year this year, the whole year. And she looks up and goes, whoa, I've replaced my income. I've got options. I can make decisions. I can grow even bigger. And like, that's how every success story in life should read. Everybody wants the home run. They want the lottery ticket, but really you put your head down and you work so hard and you work so long and all of a sudden you look up and you're free and you didn't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? So that's awesome. Good job, Kareem.
Yeah, I was like super excited about that.
All right, we're going to jump back into questions now.
All right, this question is from Eva. She says, over the last few years, I have built a nice solid Facebook following, as that's where my avatar was hanging out. My avatar is exhausted moms of babies and young children who want their sleep back. I have been there before. Facebook has been a great way for me to list build as a way to establish the know, like, and trust factor, allowing people to buy from me. In the last few months, my avatar has majorly shifted from Facebook to Instagram, which is overwhelming for me and a major letdown. I spent so much time and energy building a Facebook following, but because of new algorithms, I'm not able to get the same kind of reach I can get from Instagram. So I feel like I'm almost starting from scratch. Last week, Jocelyn said that we should focus on the social media platform that a guru in our space tends to get the most action on, which is now definitely Instagram. Do I need to start building up an audience all over again? Do you have any words of encouragement?
What I would say too is once you build a following, even Instagram, this is a game that marketers play. What's the new hot social media platform that I can bounce to that's kind of free, right? And then they get all of their quote unquote students into this endless cycle of bouncing between different platforms. Listen, you got a big following on Facebook. I promise you those people are still logging into Facebook every day, even if Facebook's not showing it to them. It might be time to put some money into boosting your post to those people. Go buy the reach. They're all there. They're all still logging in. Guarantee it. Free doesn't last forever. In 6 months, here's what's going to happen.
Instagram will change their algorithm.
Instagram's going to change. They're going to start charging people, and everybody's going to move to the new hot thing, and it'll eventually rotate back to Facebook eventually. That's the game that these companies are playing. That's the game that these gurus are playing. That's why you ever notice how the Snapchat guru 6 months later is always the Bitcoin guru, and then 6 months later the Bitcoin guru is all of a sudden the Instagram guru, and then all of a sudden they position themselves like they know all these things, but really what they know is they're tricking everybody into bouncing around all these platforms because everybody's looking for the free thing. So let's get your product available and launched and ready to make money so that you can afford to buy ads to the people you already got. You got a huge list. Think about don't think about what you can't do. Maybe you can't get free reach. Forget it. But what if I could pay for Facebook ads in this big audience that I've built to go to something that sells a paid product that costs more? What if I could pay $10 to get someone in that audience to give me $100 and then go put 10 more back into it to get another $100, right? And Facebook owns Instagram. If you start a Facebook ad to that audience and you click the little box that says show this on Instagram, here's what's crazy. Facebook knows all of those people on Facebook and where they are on Instagram. They'll show them that same ad. So it's not about chasing the latest free social media audience that gives you good reach, because their goal is always to build a platform and then take it away from you and then charge you for it. So play the game. Go out and start boosting posts, starting ads, and drive them to something that makes money so that you can actually start building a business instead of constantly chasing free traffic.
And can I just clarify what I said on the last member call? I did say that finding out where your competitors are finding a lot of traffic is a good strategy. However, that's for people who are just starting out and have absolutely nothing. If you already have a following on Facebook and you're just not getting the type of reach that you want to get, there's probably a reason for that.
You might need to change your strategy of what you're posting. We've had to do that recently on Facebook,
we've started doing that and it does work. So we've started doing some different things like fill in the blank. We've started asking poll questions. We've started
really experimenting with
a lot of different types of posting to see what people are responding to, and then we do more of that.
And when nothing gets good reach on Facebook, but if there's something I really want people to see, we had a podcast come out a couple weeks ago. It was a success story. Was it last week? I don't remember. But we had a success story where a guy came on, he got 50 members, and it was really cool. And I really wanted our audience to know that. So I just dropped $50 on it, so all of the people that follow us on Facebook would see it, and then I went and emailed my list. So but I know that if 5 people who see that join the free trial and stay a member, I'm going to make more than $50 because I know how our funnel works. So it's not as much about just getting the free traffic. That's what everybody wants, but it's not going to last forever. And that's how it works, man. By the time you get your audience built big enough on a platform, they figure it out and they start charging, or they lower your algorithm to take it away from you so that you have to pay. So you might as well just play the game in the beginning and move forward and just go get people to see your stuff. That's the way you do it, right? And if you do that, you're going to make some money. So don't be chasing traffic. That reminds me of, what it reminds me of? All right, Jocelyn and I went to this carnival one time. Remember that lemonade guy, the lemonade stand guy?
No.
Okay, we went to the carnival this year. Remember the guy who was selling lemonade? And we were like, you should franchise this or sell it out. And he goes, nobody can make the lemonade but me. You remember that guy?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so we went out and we talked to this guy, and we're like, hey, man, you got a beautiful lemonade stand. Your lemonade's delicious. And, man, you could really do something. You ever thought about teaching people how to do lemonade? And then we said, how do you make money off this? He goes, well, I constantly go from carnival to carnival. I do 2-3 a week, and we drive from.
And that's not going to fly with us.
And we drive from Mississippi to Florida, and man, I'm just, we work 7 days a week. We're really getting burnt out, but it makes good money, so we got to keep doing it. And I'm like, dude, why don't you teach people how to start these stands and how to do local things to make extra money? Or why don't you franchise this and delegate it and let some other people do it? And he goes, oh, no, man. All the traffic's in these carnivals. I'd never be able to make money like this. I've got to chase this traffic. I got to chase the carny circuit and do it. It's the only way I can make a living. And he wouldn't think that
And
there's
so
other
we're just like,
ways. Guys, and we're like, okay, buddy, thanks for the lemonade, man. We're out. But like, that's what you're doing here. You're oh man, this carnival's over. Facebook's carnival's over. And then I better go to the Instagram carnival. Oh, dang, now that's over. I got to go to the Snapchat carnival, the Twitter carnival. And then you keep going around. Then a year later, you end up in the same podunk redneck town doing the same lemonade stand at Facebook. And you're like, man, couldn't I just sat right here and sold it all year? Right. So that's figure out a way to capitalize on the market you're in now.
Don't overthink it, and don't get the woe is me. Facebook changed their algorithm and they're trying to hurt marketers. Don't take on that attitude, because we get so tired of hearing that. Like, figure out a way to make it work and continue to do that
just
thing.
Figure out their rules and go with it. Take advantage of what they offer. Don't take advantage of what they take away.
And not saying that you're trying to do that. I'm just saying a lot of people in the space do that. I hear it so many times. I just get so tired of it. Yeah. All right. This success story is from Susie. Susie says, my big win this week, I got a huge wall calendar and I have started filling in the concrete events for the upcoming year.
Awesome. Make sure you put in Flip Your Life Live, September 19th through the 21st on that wall calendar. And then we want to see you there. So take a picture of your wall calendar and share it in the forum. That'd be awesome, too. I'd love to see that. Love to see everybody's calendars and what they're looking on, their big plans and stuff like that.
And if you're interested in live, head over to fliplifestyle.com/live. We will be sending out information on that very, very soon to people on that waiting list. All right. This question is from Kareem, and I'm not sure I understand it, so you might need to clarify in the chat. It says, what is the difference between weekly Facebook Lives versus Facebook Live show?
I have no idea what that is. I know there's some things now. Like I know YouTube is doing something where it's like, gosh, I forget what it's called. It's like an event, I think is what it's called. Like where you
maybe she means like a regularly scheduled thing.
No, there's actually things now. Like there's probably I've not seen this, but I'm gonna guess what this is. YouTube has this thing now called events or something. And it's like they're trying to simulate like a watch party. Like remember back in the day when Lost or Survivor or one of these shows would come out and everybody would have a watch party and they'd go and it was a big event, right? So YouTube has this thing now where it's like scheduled events and it like promotes it to your subscribers and they all get to come. Facebook are they doing the same thing? This might be something I'm not seeing yet, but I would say that's probably what this is. But I don't get caught up in semantics, guys. Our philosophy is when I've got something to say or she's got something to say, we go live and we say it and we move on, right? And we email our list. So this might be a gimmick thing. I'll look more into it if you want to talk about it in the forums, and I'll find out exactly what the difference is.
She says I saw some people doing Facebook Live shows. Yeah, I think it's just like a gimmick.
It's just a gimmick. Yeah. That's all it is. Yeah. So here's the bottom line. If you have an email list and you can email people when you're going live, just do that. Don't worry about the gimmicks.
Yeah,
that's what's going to work forever.
I wouldn't get too carried away with like doing it at a certain day at a certain time, unless that's something you just want to do. All right. This question is from Jennifer. It says, I recently watched a video from an industry leader saying not to post longer videos.
Oh, say his name. I'm not scared. I've been on his podcast. What does it matter?
I recently watched a video from Michael Stelzner saying not to post longer videos on Facebook anymore. He said to only post them to YouTube. I know you use YouTube too. What are your thoughts on this? I wasn't sure if I should still do lives on Facebook or just move to YouTube.
I totally disagree with him. You do whatever you want. If it takes me 30 minutes to say something, it doesn't matter if it's on Facebook Live or YouTube. If it's interesting and it's entertaining, people are going to watch it, right? I will say this. The shorter the video is on any platform, the more shareable the video is, okay? So shorter videos are just infinitely more shareable. People like to share short things. They finish them, so they like I just watched the other day, the what are they called? The Holderness. The Holderness family did a parody of Baby It's Cold Outside because there's that big controversy right now on what the song's about and all this stuff. And they did this amazing parody. It was like 3 minutes long. And I think within 48 hours, it got 25 million views, but it was 3 minutes. It was just so easy to consume and share and laugh about and watch it again. It will be shared more. So it depends on the goal. If you're going live to serve your people who follow you on Facebook and you need 20 to 30 minutes to do that, and then you pitch something at the end that they buy, then do that. If not, don't worry about it. And here's what I always wonder about like experts, gurus and Michael Stelzner's a good guy. I've been on his podcast. What episode was that? Do you know? I don't remember, but I've been on that podcast before, and he's a good dude. He knows what he's talking about, a lot of things, but a lot of that stuff is guesswork, guys. It's what they see in their business. It's like that's why we always preface everything by this is working for us. Try it and see if it works for you. But like a lot of times, what people in this space have a hard time not being definitive, because being definitive gives you expertise. Just because it's a 30-minute video for him is not working doesn't mean it won't work for you. There's another guy that I follow online a little bit because he has a fascinating brand, just to watch the magician's hand, see how it works, is a guy named Jordan Peterson. And all of his videos on Facebook and YouTube are like hour and a half long college lectures. Now, you would think that that would be the most unshareable, boring thing in the history of the world, but almost every video he posts gets hundreds of thousands of views, right? So there's really no science to this that says, oh yes, I understand the Facebook and Google algorithm. So I would suggest that you try it in your space. Go test the 5-minute, a 15-minute, and a 30-minute video. See what works best for you in your space with your customers. And don't blindly listen to me and Jocelyn just because we're perceived as whatever, like go test it, go try it. It may not work, it may work, but it's a good starting point. So that's a good thesis, right? Oh, for Michael Stelzner, it's not working for these long videos. Well, I wonder if it would work for me. I'm gonna test it in my space, and then maybe you might find something different. That I really don't want anyone to follow us blindly or anybody blindly. Question everything, question us, and then test it. Put us to the test. Put them to the test and see if it actually works in your brand. Okay. All right.
All right. We are moving on. Let's go to another win. And if you have a win, you can put it right there in the chat. This is from Judy. Judy says, I've been doing daily videos for December, getting much more relaxed and fewer retakes.
Awesome.
Good job.
And I bet it's a lot easier now than the first one. It gets easier and easier and easier as you go. Good job. It's amazing.
All
Consistency always beats the fear out of you. I love it.
And for those of you who may just be joining us, I know there are a couple people in the chat. Sorry we got started a little bit early. We had to kind of change plans at the last minute today to 2 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock, but we will be on for just a little bit longer if you have a question. All right, this question is from Grant. Grant says, what's the best way to balance creating content and growing your email list when you have a small amount of both? Obviously, I want to grow my email list, and I've just started promoting what little bit of existing content I have, but I don't want to promote something that doesn't exist. Is it just a matter of creating content and then promoting it as said content is created?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's like batch some content. Like, here's a good plan if you want to plan for it. Like, let's say it's the first of the month. Maybe you take the first week of the month to promote the next four, to create the next 4 pieces of content, 1 a week. All right. So that will take you into the next month, because this is week 1 and you need some overlap so you can create again next month. Right. So you're going to create your content and it's done. And now you're going to promote that content for a couple weeks. But then you can set up some systems for sharing old content. Like you can use a tool like Meet Edgar or something else so that it keeps sharing the same stuff over and over. So you create this massive amount of, back-end breadcrumbs that are constantly leading people back to your site. And every piece of content that you create is going to show up in search somewhere. So there's more chances to be found and later organically, right? But that's usually pretty much what we do. We batch a bunch of content for a while. When we get sick of batching content and we're really far out, we go promote that stuff like crazy, right? So we are right now batched up through March on our podcast, and we're recording this in December. So we literally have enough content on the books right now to not have to do any other content publicly until then for 3 months. That gives us 12 solid weeks to sell new products, sell our membership,
and really concentrate on that promotion.
Yeah. So batch up stuff, promote it. Batch up stuff, promote it. And eventually it starts stacking up. Like we have something, we figured it out the other day, and we have like literally thousands of hours of audio and video recordings that we can now promote because they're all there. They're there forever. It's why we recorded Flip Your Life Live. We recorded Flip Your Life Live this year so that we could sell those videos forever or use them as bonuses for other sales and things like that. Like once it's there, you can promote it, but you got to create it first. You just want to create a bunch of it at once. Don't create stuff in real time. That's the mistake. That's what makes you stressed out. That's what causes everything to kind of come down on you. But you're doing the right thing. Just keep doing more of it.
All right. This question is from Kathy. Kathy says, I have heard you say in the last few podcasts to not worry so much about producing new blog content every week/month, but to drive traffic to past blog content so you can focus more on what will bring in money. Can you talk more about this? If I don't consistently produce content on my blog, won't it negatively impact my Google rankings, etc.?
So what we're saying, this goes back to the batching question. Like you do have to have consistent content, but the problem is a little dopamine hit, right? Like I did something, I was busy, I worked hard, right? Like you get it. Like if I do a podcast, I feel good. I recorded a podcast, I edited that thing, and I released it. So what happens is when nothing else is working in your business, maybe promotion's not going as good, you're not selling as much stuff as you should. Well, your brain wants that dopamine hit, and you're like, well, maybe if I just create 2 podcasts a week, what about 3? What about 4? And then all of a sudden, people get addicted to creating content that's doing nothing for them, right? They never promote anything, so they create something, and some people see it, and then it goes away forever, right? But over time, you're going to be able to look and see what's dropped. Like 10 blog posts on your website, if you have 1,000 blog posts, are going to create 80% of your traffic. That's just the way it is. Maybe not in real time. When we release a podcast, we get a big spike on that piece of content. But then we like to watch it over time to promote those things that are actually getting traction. We've got like 5 or 6 blog posts that get a lot of traction in Google search. So that's what we need to focus on and promote that. So keep consistently creating content. Just don't think content is the only answer. You're not going to create content all the time that's doing nothing if you're not getting any traction on it. You've got to actually promote something at some point or another. If you have a really good success story and you wrote a blog post about it, promote it. Promote that. Go into promoting that. Find all the old stuff that you've created. If you're subscribed to the Flip Lifestyle podcast, then you know that every Friday? Every Friday we have a short podcast that's basically 3 questions from maybe a year ago on this, these Q&As. We just edit it up into like themes, or we take really good questions and answers and we turn that into a podcast. Like that's a way you can repurpose things, you can promote things that may have disappeared can come back to the front and go again. So,
and I think that also, just to kind of like explain what we mean a little bit more, that once you have a lot of content, you don't have to create quite as often. So like for us, the main thing when you first get started is that you want Google to know what your site is about. For us, we've been doing this for how many years? Like almost 5 years. So Google pretty much knows what our site is about. So like if we didn't create content for a while, it wouldn't be a super big deal, because it's very obvious that our site is about entrepreneurship and business to Google. And we know that because we can see where people are landing on our site, and we know that they're landing on relevant pages.
We can do things like, for example, like this is something I've been doing lately. Like, yeah, Google likes to see things come back up, and they like to see you updating your site regularly, just like YouTube likes you to update your channel, iTunes likes you to update your podcast. But like sometimes we can do it. Like some people do reruns on their podcast because they still release the podcast. They just cut a little intro and did a rerun. I've done roundup posts lately where I just, instead of a blog post coming out every week, I can just go in and say, hey, here's our last 3 podcasts we did about Facebook marketing. There you go. Right. Like it's just a roundup post with links to other things. Like you can just kind of back off the hardcore content creation, use a little less energy in that part, and then promote all the stuff you've already been working on, especially the stuff that works. Like don't reinvent the wheel. You know what I'm saying? I said this to somebody the other day. Sometimes, a lot of times you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just got to rotate the tires, right? So rotate the tires every once in a while, take a break. And then, when it's time to, reinvent the wheel, do it. But don't get so caught up in content creation that you can't do anything else.
All right. I'm going to jump to our last win that I have, and it is from Castle. It says, as I was plotting my monthly earnings, I realized I now have a slow but gradual increase in recurring payments, and now I have reached $1,000 a month on a regular basis. That was my first goal. Now I'm aiming to $2,000 a month.
Good job, Castle. That is absolutely incredible. $1,000 a month is a big deal, guys.
It really is.
That is a really, really big deal. I mean, when you get to $1,000 a month, you're talking about mortgage payments, car payments with insurance. You're talking about covering the grocery bill and the electric bill sometimes. Like you're talking life-changing money. And it's also a tipping point. that's a tipping point where you can start saying 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. Whoa, maybe I can quit my job. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that. So that is amazing. Good job. We're super proud of you.
All right. The final question for today is from Corey. Corey says, December 15th, I will be launching my first online courses. I plan to start a membership program in the first quarter of the upcoming year. My in person classes have been running successfully for 20 years with my core product price point of $900, which is for 24 hours of adult beginning swimming. I want to charge $300 to $400 for the online course, which covers about one half of the in person class. What do I need to consider with a customer comparing the in person versus online experience?
In this instance, I would say this: the person that buys your online course doesn't even know what the in person experience looks like. You do. You know what it looks like compared to your online course, but they don't. They searched for something that led them to this swimming course, right? So you need to stop comparing that. They're not even the same thing. It's not even the same universe, not even the same world. And you should now, the only way that would count is if you had an in-person live customer who was like, hey, I'm thinking about either doing the in-person training or the online course, right? That person can objectively compare your two offers. But the person who searches and finds it doesn't even know what the other thing is. So it's not like you have to even explain it. Like it's not even the same product, basically. So why is it even part of the discussion? Like you've built a course that you want to charge $300 for because you believe the value is there. Someone can take this course, they can go learn how to swim and do it and achieve their goals better. Sell it for that. Like they're not two things. These two, this is apples and oranges. What you're trying to compare. I've got a really good friend too in Australia who does swimming courses. And like he's got this awesome thing that he does like every year. All of his membership, he's got a membership. It's like whatever a month, and they learn swim technique. They get better at swim. Then they all show up for 1 week. They call it Hell Week, and they all just swim miles and miles and miles in this pool in the winter. So it's like really cold water. And but he's really successful. It's a good niche, and people don't compare it like that. Like when you're buying an online course, you're not really thinking about that. What you can do is you can add virtual components, like someone could film themselves swimming, send you a video. You could, coach their technique. That way it could be a whole other package. But don't compare your offline experiences that you create with your online experiences that you're selling, because your customer is not doing that. They just are not doing that 90% of the time, and you don't need to worry about it either. Okay.
All right. That wraps up our member call for December 13th. If you guys are just now joining us, expecting us to be starting right now, we did have to change the time of the call today because our kid has basketball practice and we totally forgot to put it on the calendar. So
been crazy.
It happens.
Schedule-wise.
But if we missed your question, if you're just now getting here and you want to ask a question, go ahead and put that into the general discussion area of the community, and we will get in there as soon as we can and try to answer that question for you. But thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again on December 28th.
All right, guys. So that's after Christmas. So get your shopping done and keep an eye on your inbox, because Flip Your Life Live tickets are going on sale this month. We're going to do a deposit system this year because we know everybody's got Christmas presents and all that going on. The full-blown launch will be in January, but we're going to give all of our Flip Your Life community members and the people that came last year first dibs on the tickets, and it's going to be some kind of deposit or something like that, and you pay the rest next year. Okay, but that we've got the venue. I think we're signing contracts on Friday this week, and it is going to be bigger and better, and
on a weekend.
It's going to be on a weekend. It's going to be amazing. So we will see you there. We will see you in your inbox, and we'll see you on the next member call. Till next time.
Bye.
Do whatever it takes. Flip your life.